So, I know who you are, obviously, but can you just give me your name for the camera and just like a brief background of yourself?
Okay. My name is George Worrell, and I live in New York City, and I work in the fashion industry. Moved here about 3 years ago from Washington, D.C., and living very happily here in New York.
Great. Um, just getting right into it, I kind of alluded to it before, but I mean, what is your general opinion about the U.S. economy right now? How do you think Americans are feeling about this economy? A lot of people say the consumer sentiment is down. I know people are spending less. People feel a little bit more apprehensive to buy that new car or that new
Yeah.
toaster. I mean, what do you?
I'm fortunate enough to be optimistic, but also to see the groundwork of what's going on. I work in retail, so I see it every day that people are making conscious decisions about what they are purchasing. I work in luxury goods, so they're looking for sales. They're looking for offers off. They will tell us, well, I think that's going to go on sale, so I'll wait. They are very educated about their purchases and what they want to do. So I believe, as a student of history, that we are in some type of depression, recession. We have a lot of returns. People buy and they bring it back. People buy online, they bring it back. I'm seeing a lot of returns. I hope it gets better. The weather sometimes has, things to do with it, but overall with the economy, like I said, I'm hopeful that it gets better. We have to go that extra effort to make that sale. Yeah.
You kind of mentioned it right there, but do you think? I mean, what would you attribute this, depression to? I mean, we started out the year kind of behind. I mean, do you think? I mean, obviously, a lot of people said this weather, this brutal winter, has really kind of, damaged a lot of economic progress. I mean, what do you think some of the factors are?
I mean, I only have my reference of what's going on with me to say that I was a personal shopper. I had my own business. People had to start to decide, am I going to pay my children's tuition, or am I going to put $10,000 in my escrow account and pay you $1,500 and then $85 to either $125 an hour to shop for me? So luxury is the first thing that's, cut. If you don't really need it, then, I can go to a store and do it, or I can ask someone at a counter to do it. So I found that hit that the where I am and where I work as a business, that it's not something that's really needed. And that's what I'm finding out, that you have to be creative in what you do. So I had to start teaching it instead of doing it one by one with clients, that I had to start going to colleges and start telling students how to prepare themselves for interviews. I had to look for grant money. I had to go to colleges and speak for free first, and then hopefully they'll bring me back for a fee. So it's hard, but the only thing that I think that's good about it, it makes you creative. And for those who are creative, you will make it. But I feel that there's definitely something going on in the economy where people are really apprehensive about spending money.
I mean, can you speak a little bit to how important retail sales are for the American economy? I mean, consumer spending makes up, I think, like 60, just like a huge amount of, it drives our economy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, can you basically just expand on that point, like how important you think?
I think it's important because you have so many people that when you sell a garment, there are so many people that are involved in that garment. They're the people who sew it, the people who make it, the designers, the people that work for the designers, the stylists, the publicists. So you have about 10 to 20 different entities in one dress, in one suit. That is a brand. You have a tailor. So when you come to that luxury brand or wherever you go, and you purchase that dress or you purchase that suit, We have tailors on hand that we have to pay. If we have to alter it, if we're going to send it, that means we're doing FedEx, we're doing groundwork, U.S. Postal. So there's all of these things and all of these different services that come in when you buy that one garment, that if you don't, if you're not buying anything, we can't send anything. We can't have them altered. So it's affecting a lot of people. But also, too, if you're not making that money, if you've downsized, you have to figure out where you're going to cut. When the things that I do in New York, I didn't do, or I did more of it in Washington because my income was more. Like, I entertained at home. I had a 25 square foot loft. It was just more economically feasible. When I moved to New York, I got a 450 square foot studio. I looked for things that were inclusive. I had to factor in travel, food, cook for the week. It was like your lifestyle changes. So when your lifestyle changes, it means there's a change in the economy. There's a change in how you spend. So the smart consumer, or the smart person who wants to be able to live, and eat and do the things that are necessary, you have to be strategic.
Moving away from retail sales, there's been a term that's been coined. It's called reshoring, about a lot of American jobs coming back from overseas, from China or Korea. I mean, a lot of manufacturing jobs, or jobs where they're actually creating things, or they say they're coming back to America. I mean, how important do you think that is?
Well, as I said, being a student of history, I mean, I grew up where there were factories and garment facilities, candy factories. You would see them. The outsourcing, saying that it's cheaper, is it really? Because it's harming the economy. Why can't we do that? Everyone's not going to be a doctor. Everyone's not going to be a lawyer. There are people who are skilled with their hands. I'm one of them. And I feel that I shouldn't have to travel overseas to do that. And I think there's a great resurgence, especially in the fashion industry, where it feels good to say "made in America." I'm a total believer of that.
There has been some debate. There's been some debate about, specifically with Harlem. There's kind of gentrification going on there. Do you think gentrification is a problem? I mean, obviously there's some pros, there's some cons. I mean, what is your opinion about gentrification, specifically with Harlem?
Well, as I said, I moved here from Washington, D.C. about 3 years ago. And we had that term in Washington, as you know, for a long period of time. It was 85% African American. And with the past two administrations in Washington, you saw people, and with the election of Obama, you saw an influx of people who were not of color to work for government, and the city totally changed, which I was very happy. I don't want to live in a world where it's all one of anything. So coming to Harlem, I had heard or felt that it's not some place that I wanted to travel because it was notorious for, just a notorious area, maybe 10 to 15 years ago. In my mind, I would go back to the Harlem Renaissance when it was very fashionable and things like that. But at that point in time when I was visiting New York, it wasn't. When I moved to New York, the first place that I saw was Harlem at 135th and 5th. And I instantly fell in love. I did start to see in different parts where it was changing, and I would hear from the residents in my building that, oh, Harlem's really changing. We're seeing a lot of people not of color here. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think that the people who are moving there can learn and feel the culture of Harlem, bring theirs. We can feel theirs and mesh. That's what a melting pot is. That is what America is about. That is what New York is about. I mean, when you see the Statue of Liberty, it's everybody came over here. We came over from oppression. We came over so that we could be, religious freedom, so that we could live together. I love going to different parts and having a native dish. So I'm all for it. I just think that we all should be able to live together and learn from each other and cohabitate. I love it.
That's awesome. That's great. I'll ask one more question about the economy, and then we'll move on to the dark chocolate feature.
Okay.
I mean, what do you think could boost the economy? Do you think more leadership has to come from Washington? I mean, some people say raising the minimum wage. I mean, what do you think are some things that could boost the economy right now?
I think training, encouraging small business, and inputting monies. I have a small business. I'm a small business owner, and I had to get a job because there are no grants. It's hard to get loans. We could train people. I speak at DC incarcerated youth and with youth that have somewhere along the line missed their footing. And my spiel to them is to encourage them to be whatever it is that you think that you're good at. First find out what it is. For me, I've always been good with my hands. So for young people, they love tennis shoes, they love fashion. So if you love tennis shoes, then why don't you design them? If you can't draw, partner with someone else who can. That's starting a business. Being self-sufficient and finding out what it is that you're good at. Everybody's not going to be or would want to work for someone. I've been a good employee, but I've not, in my mind, I'm a great business owner because I can always see how to do it better, how to do it cheaper, how to do it more stylish, So the encouragement of the economy, if we are building missiles, if we are sending money to other countries for them to stop wars, I believe that a lot of that money can be reinvested into the community, reinvested into small businesses so that we're not struggling, that we can hire people, we can train them to do their passions. Do you know, if you're working a retail job and you really are a designer and you want to do shoes, but you can't find funding, you're not going to be a good employee. Someone's going to come there and you're daydreaming about you could be doing shoes. You know how many people in the service industry that are not nice? Because maybe it's not what they really want to do. Maybe customer service is not for them. Maybe they should be in the back like sewing or putting something together and seeing the end result that would put a smile on their face. Do you know what I mean? So if there's anything to be done for the economy, I believe it's reinvesting in the community, reinvesting in our people.
That's very well put. I'll ask one more. I mean, how important do you think the global economy is? I mean, the interconnectivity, something happening across the world in Ukraine is making the U.S. stock market over here drop. I mean, how important do you think we're dependent on each other?
I don't know. As a world leader, I mean, you look at Greece and their economy. I mean, are we far away? Are we far off? I mean, are we too involved? That's for our leadership. That's for us. That's for our leadership. That's why we elect them to make decisions for us so that we are able to sustain and to grow. I know we have to be involved in different countries and we, hopefully visit them and hopefully that the world is in a center. But I think sometimes too that we get too involved and we are helping other countries get a footing. They really never get the footing and we get nothing. And so I think it should be, the answer to your question, I think it should be, help should be given. And I know that it has an effect on us, but it should be monitored. It should be where we know pretty much what the outcome is going to be. You know, that's why we have experts in these things. So I think a little more research should be done, or a little more thought about it before these things are done. Yeah.
Okay, now I'll move on to this chocolate feature.
Okay.
So the reporter sent me the script, and I'll just read. I'll read, their paragraphs for you, and I'll let you comment on it.
Okay.
And I mean, like I said, I know you didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this, so we'll just.
Okay.
If there's ever a point where you want to say, all right, I want to, take that again, just
Okay.
say that, because this is recorded. Okay, so I'll just read this. For a long period of time, there was a general belief that dark chocolate characterized by tremendous benefits. From the psychological point, at least, that they are working on granting a personal side. This track is like translated from language, so it's kind of. So basically, scientists believe that dark chocolate can, help those and help many diseases, as far as heart disease and cancer. I mean, you read the article. What overall is your general opinion about this article? I mean, obviously, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just comment on basically what the article said first of all.
Based on what it said, I think I'd rather have chocolate than to have to take some type of medicine, heart medicine, if that was the case, if I were sick. If it's something that, like they'll say, eat a piece of fruit every day. If it's something that the studies show that it'll help your vascular system, I'm all for it. I mean, who would want better medicine than chocolate? So, the studies say that, and they show that the cocoa that's mixed in it has an effect with your stomach. It's worth trying. It's worth doing. So I'm all for it. I'm a chocolate lover. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was. Could you maybe speak a little bit about, how important it is to live like a healthy life, and how maybe tie it in with dark chocolate, how, your diet is important
Mm-hmm.
to,
Okay. Being raised with Southern parents, and so I was raised on those foods. With a lot of fried foods, made with a lot of oils and all those things. And once I got, I'm getting better. My parents totally stopped eating it. So, my doctor informed me at some point, you're going to have to, I was feeling tired. And she's like, well, you're going to have to change your diet. So, maybe have a piece of chocolate each day, and have a piece of fruit. So when I started that, I felt a lot healthier. I had more energy. I would get up, and I felt like walking. I felt like exercising. So with the change of diet, and which is my favorite, a piece of milk chocolate each day, I saw the difference. It was really something that I felt differently. So I was all for it.
Can you maybe speak about how important studies like these are? Studying our food, studying
Mm-hmm.
what people eat. How important is that?
Well, I think it's tremendously important. I mean, we wouldn't know. I mean, that's what discoveries of cures, when we're finding out things. We're thinking one thing, we've been taking something or doing something for so long and having different effects, and then these studies come along and they re-educate us, which I think is very important. Everybody wants to live a long and healthy life. I know I do. So when these things come along and you find out that they work, that I love the science. That's what the research is all about. And kudos. And I think it's a great thing.
Um, maybe you can talk a little bit about how much of a epidemic, I don't like to use that word, but how much of a problem heart disease and cancer is in America, and why it's important to find new ways to combat that and stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, you see these commercials every day on heart disease. You see every year that they're having these marathons about heart disease and cancer and all of these things. And I think it is because of diet, and I think it is because unhealthy living. And I mean, I know for myself, as a former drinker, that my life is fuller. No one wants to be out of breath. You want to be, I can kind of jog up the, escalator. I mean, New York is a walking city. So I'm encouraged always to feel fit. My father said something when I was younger, it's easier to keep good health than to get in bad health and try to get in good health. It's almost impossible. So if you have good health, try to keep it and maintain it.
I guess just my final question would be, is there anything else you could add or say about dark chocolate, or, anything else you'd like to add, or maybe you think that we didn't cover? Maybe about living healthy and the importance of it. Or
Yeah. Living healthy. Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, it's easy. It's very easy to stop at the corner store on a long walk and have a chocolate bar. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with chocolate. I mean, you can do it at home. You can make all of these little new dishes. You can serve it as dessert. You can have it over your fruit. I just think it's a win-win situation. You can have, the dark chocolate, which the study shows that it's really effective with the vascular heart system. And I just can't think of a nicer, sweeter way to get in good health than to have a piece of dark chocolate.